In the vast, sun-scorched deserts south of Egypt, along the life-giving banks of the River Nile, lies a forgotten story. A tale etched not in popular memory, but in the silent stones of countless pyramids rising from the sands. These pyramids, more numerous than those of northern Egypt, point to a powerful civilization. This was the kingdom of Kush, a formidable African empire that thrived for over 1,000 years. Its heartland, the ancient region of Nubia, largely modern-day Sudan. For centuries, its history was buried, overshadowed by Egypt's pharaohs. But that view is incomplete. To the south, a sophisticated culture grew in parallel. The Kushites were sometimes rivals, sometimes allies, and at one point, rulers of Egypt. Their kings, the Black Pharaohs, ruled an empire from the Mediterranean to deep Africa. They built cities. They commanded vast armies. They controlled trade routes, trade that funneled gold, ivory, other precious goods from Africa's interior, creating immense wealth. Their legacy is mysterious and profound. They created a script, Meroitic. We see it carved on temple walls, funerary stelae, offering tables, yet scholars have largely failed to decode it. The language speaks across ages, but its words remain unknown. This silence deepens Kush's enigma, hiding rituals, laws, and worldviews. Kush's story is one of endurance. Origins around 2500 BC, outlasting Egypt's new kingdom, persisting into the Roman era, declining in the 4th century AD, a civilization of adaptability, resources, and a unique identity, a bridge between the Mediterranean and sub-Saharan Africa, a crucible of innovation. Today, archaeologists are piecing the fragments together. We are rediscovering an empire history forgot, and it reshapes how we see power in the ancient Nile Valley. Our trip into this lost world starts Giza, Karnak. We travel south, following the big river. The river twists through the rough lands of Nubia. Here, the story isn't about one big kingdom from the start. Different groups and leaders slowly coming together. Gold, strong rock, good farming areas. The beginnings of Kushite power were set. This civilization didn't just appear, it grew by talking and working with Egypt. This relationship would shape its future for hundreds of years. Friendly trade, angry fights. The main ideas of this forgotten empire show a civilization that was deep and smart. These Nubian kings did something amazing. They took over Egypt itself, called the 25th dynasty, ruled from the delta all the way to the deep south. They said they were bringing back the old Egyptian ways, where they got all their money, controlling the gold mines in Nubia, being the first to make a lot of iron, industry based in their later capital of Meroe, made them a money-making giant for hundreds of years. Taking over and trading, the culture of Kushite society, special religious ways, Egyptian gods, Amun, local gods, Apetamak. Pyramids they built, smaller and steeper than Egyptian ones, beliefs about life after death. Big mystery for historians and linguists. Meroitic writing no one can read. This silent language is the last piece of the puzzle. If we solve it, it could change the history of this part of Africa. The long, slow fall of this once great power. No empire lasts forever. Kush was the same. Trade routes changing and bypassing its centers, changes in the environment, new strong groups rising up. Cities left empty, temples became quiet, name forgotten for over 1,000 years. Ghost civilization, achievements buried under the desert sands. Let's start to dig up this story, beginning with the first parts of Kush along the banks of the Nile. Long before the kings of Kush dreamed of ruling Egypt, the seeds of their civilization were sown in the fertile soil of Upper Nubia. The story begins not with a single unified kingdom, but with a series of vibrant local cultures flourishing along the Nile. The most significant of these was the Kerma culture, which emerged around 2500 BC. Centered on the city of Kerma, located at the third cataract of the Nile, This early society developed a distinct and sophisticated way of life. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of a dense urban center, a testament to a well-organized and powerful state. This was not a primitive collection of villages, but a burgeoning political entity with a clear social hierarchy and a centralized authority capable of organizing large-scale construction projects and controlling territory. The city of Kerma itself was a marvel of early African urbanism. Its most striking feature was a massive mud brick temple, known today as the Western Defufa. This structure, which still stands several stories high, was unlike anything built in Egypt at the time. It served as the heart of the community's religious and political life, a symbol of the power wielded by the rulers of Kerma. Surrounding this monumental building were workshops for artisans, residential areas, and a royal palace. The city was a hub of activity where potters created incredibly fine, polished black-topped redware, a hallmark of Kerma's artistic excellence. These delicate ceramics, thin as eggshells, were highly prized and have been found as far away as Egypt, indicating early trade connections. The people of Kerma also had unique funerary customs that reveal much about their society and beliefs. Their kings were buried in large circular tombs, or tumuli, beneath great mounds of earth. These rulers were not laid to rest alone. In a practice that startles the modern mind, they were accompanied into the afterlife by hundreds of retainers, sacrificed to serve their lord in eternity. These burials, filled with luxury goods, weapons, and the remains of livestock, speak of a society that held its leaders in divine esteem. The scale of these sacrifices points to an immense concentration of power, where the king's transition to the next world was a monumental event for the entire community, reaffirming the cosmic order and the ruler's central place within it. The Kerma kingdom represented the first great Nubian power, a formidable state that controlled the Nile Valley from the first to the fourth cataracts for centuries. It was not a mere vassal of Egypt, but a significant rival. Egyptian texts from the period speak of Kerma with a mixture of fear and respect, referring to it as wretched Kush, yet acknowledging its military strength and the threat it posed to Egypt's southern frontier. This early kingdom laid the institutional, cultural, and ideological groundwork for what would later become the Great Kingdom of Kush. It established a tradition of strong, centralized rule and a distinct Nubian identity that would endure and evolve, eventually rising to challenge the Pharaohs for control of the entire Nile.